Hello students, myself Suresh VS. Welcome back to my channel. Today let us continue the lesson Indigo written by Louis Fisher. So please take page number 48, last paragraph. Last class we discussed that all the lawyers of Muzaffarpur visited Gandhi and they had given the report, okay, and they told about the fees that they used to collect from the peasants also. Now after hearing them, what did he say? Gandhi chided the lawyers for collecting big fee from the sharecroppers. Chided means rebuked or scolded. Gandhi was not happy. He scolded them. He scolded the advocates for collecting such a huge fees, large fees from the sharecroppers, these poor peasants. He said, I have come to the conclusion that we should stop going to law courts. So he said, I have reached at a conclusion. What is the conclusion? We must stop going to the law courts. There is no use of it because we should go into court. Taking such cases to the courts does little good. So according to him, taking such cases to the court will not do any good to the peasants. That means they would not get any benefit of taking the court. Simply the advocates are collecting fees from the poor farmers. Where the peasants are so crushed, you see that the peasants, they are so crushed, they are embarrassed, they are disappointed. They are so disappointed as well as fear-stricken. Fear-stricken means frightened. The poor peasants are really frightened and embarrassed and crushed. So, law courts are useless. So, according to him, law courts are useless. That means Gandhi told them that there would be any use of taking the cases to the court because they could not get justice from the court. And more than that, see the peasants, the poor peasants are embarrassed, shocked, as well as frightened. The real relief for them is to be free from fear. So the real relief, how can they get? Very important, not this point. The real relief that they can get when they come out of fear. They have to come out of fear. So that was Gandhi's intention also. Bring the people out of fear to challenge the British rule. Okay. So most of the arable land in the Champaran district was divided into large estates owned by the Englishmen and worked by Indian tenants. Dear students, see what was the case in Champaran. So in Champaran you see that most of the arable land, arable means fertile land, the land which can be used for cultivation, such land. So the most of the arable lands in the district was divided into large estates. Okay, so these large estates were owned by whom? The Englishmen. It was under the ownership of Englishmen, under the control of Englishmen, and there who used to work? The poor Indian people, and they used to work there as the tenants. That means they had to give certain amount as rent to the English people. The chief, that means the land was owned by the Englishmen and those who were working in the field were our Indians. The chief commercial crop was indigo. So what was cultivated there? The chief commercial or cash crop cultivated there was indigo. Indigo was cultivated there. The landlords compelled all tenants to plant 3/12 or 15% of the holdings with indigo and surrender the entire indigo harvest as rent. See, understand the case. So the English people or these English plantation owners, they compelled the Indian peasants to cultivate 15% of the land indigo. Okay, and they have to hand over this indigo completely. They have to hand over this this crop to whom? To the Britishers as rent. That was the condition. So that means suppose if I got 15 acres of land, out of this 1 by 15%, 1 by 4th, 15% of the land that must be cultivated by indigo, and What I have to do? I have to hand over the whole product to, yes, the Britishers. That was the condition. So this was done by long-term contract. So this arrangement was done by an agreement, a contract that was a contract that was made between the Indian peasants as well as the British plantation owners. Okay, and this continued for long years, for many years. Presently, the landlords learned that Germany had developed a synthetic indigo. See the twist. And this time, presently, you see that the Britishers, they came to know, or they learned that what Germany, they had found out a synthetic fiber. So synthetic indigo. Synthetic indigo, you see that it's an artificial indigo. Okay. So there is no need to cultivate indigo here. So as soon as they came to know that, or they learned that, yes, Germany had developed this new technique of synthetic indigo. They thereupon obtained agreements from the sharecroppers to pay them compensation for being released from the 15% arrangement. So immediately they told thereupon, that means immediately, okay, or in a short while. So they asked all the Indian peasants to, give a certain amount as compensation because they were made free from the agreement. They need not to cultivate indigo in their land, and for that what they have to do? So they were asked to give compensation, certain amount of money. Okay, so for being released from the 15% arrangement, the sharecropping arrangement was exempt to the peasants and many signed willingly. And you see that this sharecropping arrangement, this arrangement was really irksome. Irksome means irritating. Okay, so irritating for many of the Indian peasants, and but they had signed it willingly. And many signed willingly, those who resisted. But there were few people. There were so many people, not a few people. There were so many peasants who resisted, who opposed. So what happened to these people, those who opposed it? Let us see. And they engaged lawyers. They engaged lawyers. Already we have seen that. Okay, they engaged lawyers in the court, and they fought. They filed a case against these British plantation owners. But you see that immediately these landowners hired thugs. Thugs means bandits, or we can say some criminals. Okay, gundas, and they hired the thugs. And meanwhile, why did they hire? In order to bully them, in order to threaten them. So in order to threaten the peasants, you see that they hired some criminals and all. So meanwhile, the information about synthetic indigo reached the illiterate peasants who had signed, and they wanted their money back. And by the time you see that the illiterate peasants, they came to know about this. What this? Artificial indigo, which has been developed in Germany. And they understood that that was the reason they were freed from this agreement. And as a result of that, they asked their money back. They told, give us our money back. Okay, they wanted their money back. That was the issue in Champaran. I hope you understood it. At this point, Gandhi arrived in Champaran. So by the time, our Gandhiji arrived in Champaran, and he began by trying to get the facts. And now he started collecting the facts. Okay, so without the facts, he cannot move forward. He cannot do anything. So he started collecting, the facts. Then first he visited the secretary of the British Landlords Association. So first of all, what did he do? He just straight away, he went to the secretary of British Landlords Association. So British Landlords Association union was there. So they had a secretary, and he approached him. He visited him. The secretary told him that they could give no information to an outsider. So what was his reply? Hey, you are an outsider. I cannot give any information to an outsider. You have come from somewhere else. I cannot give any information. That was his answer. Gandhi answered that he was no outsider. So he said, no, I am not an outsider. I am an Indian. Okay. He was not ready to, I agree with the concept of that man. Next, Gandhi called on British official commissioner of the Tirhut division, in which the Champaran district lay. You see the Champaran district that was coming under the division Tirhut division. So what did he do? He next visited another person that was a British official commissioner. Okay, so he went to a British official commissioner. Under him, this Tirhut district was coming, and Champaran district was coming under this Tirhut division. The commissioner got the reports. What did he say? Proceed to bully me. Yes, bully means frighten. But that man, he started to frighten Gandhi. And he started to, frighten him as well as advised him forthwith to leave Tirhut. And he told to leave him forthwith means immediately. Okay, very soon. He was asked to leave, Champaran. You move out from here. He threatened him. Gandhi did not leave, but Gandhi was not ready to leave the place. Instead, he proceeded to, Motihari. Instead, what did he do? He moved to, another place called Motihari. So, Motihari was the capital of Champaran. So, he decided to go to, the capital of Champaran, that was Motihari. And several lawyers accompanied him. He was not alone. He was accompanied by several advocates also. And at the station, a vast multitude greeted Gandhi. And when he reached the station, you see that a large number of people were gathered to, welcome him. Or multitude means crowd. He went to a house and using it as a headquarters, continued his investigations. So already he started collecting the facts. And what did he do? He went to a house there and making use that house as his office. He started to do the investigation. He started to collect the facts as well as continue his investigation. A report came in that a person had maltreated in a nearby village. Gandhi decided to go and see the next morning. He started out on the back of an elephant. So by this time, a news had come to Gandhiji that a person had been maltreated. Okay, that means ill-treated, treated badly in a nearby village. So next morning, Gandhi decided to go there. So Gandhi moved to that village on the back of an elephant. So the news had reached the British officials. He had not proceeded far. You see that he did not go far. And before that, you see that the police came there. That means police superintendent's messenger overtook him. Overtook him means went ahead of him or moved past of him and ordered him to return to town. So you see that he did not move far a place. And before that, he did not reach the village. And before that, you see that a messenger of police superintendent overtook him and asked him to go back to the town. So he was asked to go back to his town in his carriage, in his vehicle. Gandhi compiled. Gandhi obeyed. Compiled means obeyed. The messenger drove Gandhi home where he served him with an official notice to quit Champaran immediately. You see that messenger, he left Gandhi at his home. And thereafter, he gave a notice also. What was that notice? What was written in that notice? He was asked to leave Champaran immediately. Did Gandhi obey? Gandhi signed a receipt for the notice. There he signed the receipt for the notice. There he signed and received. Thereafter he wrote there. What did he write? He would disobey the order. He wrote there, I would disobey the order. I am not going to obey this order. I will remain here. In consequence, so what was the result of it? As a result of that, Gandhi received a summons to appear in court the next day. So he got a summons, that means a court order. What was the court order? So he was asked to appear in the court next day. So all night Gandhi remained awake. Throughout the night, Gandhi did not sleep. He remained awake. He telegraphed Rajendra Prasad to come from Bihar with the influential friends. You see that he sent a message. He sent a telegram to Rajendra Prasad and he was asked to come to Bihar with all his friends, influential friends. He sent an instruction to the Assam. And not only that, he understood that he won't be able to, go back from Bihar to Gujarat. So he sent a telegram to Assam. So what should be the proceedings there? He wired a full report to the Viceroy. Not only that, he telegraphed, wired means telegraphed. He telegraphed a full report to the Viceroy also. The morning found the town of Motihari black with peasants. You see that next day, full the Motihari, the capital of Champaran, was filled with the peasants. They did not know Gandhi's record in South Africa. The poor peasants did not know what was the record of Gandhi in South Africa and what did he do there. They did not know the history of Gandhi, the past of Gandhi. They had merely heard that they knew only one thing. What did they come to know? They came to know that a Mahatma had come there in order as a savior, okay, as a savior for them, in order to save them, who wanted to help them, and that person was in great trouble with the authorities. So this news had spread everywhere. One Mahatma had come there, and that person is in great trouble. Actually, he had come to help them, and he had some trouble with the authorities. Okay, so the peasants came to know that. Their spontaneous demonstration in thousands, you see that? Their spontaneous means natural, something happening naturally. And you see that naturally they had come in a demonstration, and you see that they had come in a march. They started a march in thousands, not one or two or 100,000 of people were there. They started demonstration around the courthouse and beginning of the liberation from fear of the British. You see that? They started the march around the courthouse, and it was really a headache to the British. The British never had expected such a movement from the Indian people. And that is why it was their beginning of their freedom. It was their beginning of their freedom from fear of the British. Until then, they lived out of fear. They were so much frightened of fear, frightened of the British. And now they were released from that fear. The officials felt powerless without Gandhi's cooperation. Now they understood that without the cooperation of Gandhi, they could not do anything. They could not crush the people. They could not suppress the people. Okay, so they would become violent. So if they would become violent, what would they do? So they were really frightened. He helped them regulate the crowd. So Gandhi himself came to control the crowd. Okay, Gandhi controlled the crowd. He was polite and friendly. You see that Gandhiji was really polite as well as friendly with everyone. He was giving them concrete proof that their might, hitherto dreaded and unquestioned, could be challenged by Indians. You see that by this incident, Gandhi was giving a concrete proof. Concrete means a solid proof. A solid proof or solid evidence to the Britishers that their power, their might means their power, hitherto dreaded, and hitherto means until now. Their power until now, it was feared by or dreaded by the Indian people, and unquestioned, that were not at all challenged by unquestioned means not challenged, unchallenged by the Indian people, could be challenged by Indians. Now there is a possibility that Indians will challenge their power or their might as well as their power. So it was a great witness. Okay, so actually Gandhi wanted to give such a concrete, a solid proof. The government was baffled. The government really perplexed, bewildered, and they did not know what to do. The prosecutor requested the judge to postpone the trial. So Gandhi was called to the court for the trial. So the prosecutor, the government, government lawyer, advocate. Government advocate asked the judge to postpone the trial. He told her, we will do the trial afterwards. So because they were frightened what the people were going to do outside. Apparently the authorities wished to consult their superiors. So by the time, evidently you see that apparently means clearly, it was clear that they wanted to consult their superior officers. Okay, so they would get the time also. So Gandhi protested against the delay. So Gandhi did not want to be delayed. Okay, he read a statement pleading guilty. So there he read a statement in the court telling that he was at fault. Guilty means at fault. Okay. He was involved, he told the court, in a conflict of duties. And he told to the court that he neglected the duties. He was involved in the conflict of duties. That means he neglected the duties. He disobeyed the law. On the one hand, not to set a bad example as a lawbreaker. He told that it was not done to set an example of a lawbreaker. So he told that he was a law-abiding citizen. Then why did he neglect the duty? Why did he disobey? On the other hand, to render the humanitarian and national service, he told that he has done it as a part of his national service and as well as a humanitarian. It was done for the welfare of the human beings. So, thinking about the welfare of the human beings as well as as a part of the national service, then he became a lawbreaker. He read in the court, for which he had come, and he told that for that purpose only, so he had visited or he had come to Champaran. He disregarded the order to leave, not for want of respect for lawful authority, but in obedience to the higher law of our being, the voice of conscience. He disregarded the order to leave. So he was given an order to leave the place, but he disregarded it. Okay, he disobeyed it. And why did he do that? According to him, it was not for want of respect. It was not because of lack of respect. Here what means lack? Lack of respect, then for lawful authority, but in obedience to the higher law of our being, but as an obedient citizen to the law of the human being. That means the voice of conscience. The voice of conscience means the inner self, what is right and wrong. So his inner conscience that told him what was right, and that tempted him to violate the order. Okay, that is why he disobeyed the order. Actually, he did not want to disobey the authorities, but he had done it. Why? Because it was for the welfare of the human beings. He wanted to do something. To the law of the voice of conscience, he asked the penalty to. He asked for the punishment. So you can give the punishment, he told to the court. The magistrate announced that he would pronounce sentence after 2 hour recess. Recess means break. So immediately the magistrate said, okay, I would declare the punishment after the recess. Okay, 2 hours after the recess or after the break, and asked Gandhi to furnish bail for those 120 minutes, that is 2 hours. And Gandhi was asked to give a bail, furnish bail. Furnish bail means present the bail. You know, bail means give a certain amount of money to the court in order to be free before the trial, so that until the trial he can be free. So he was asked to submit certain amount of money for this free time. Okay, until the trial he could be free outside. But what did Gandhi say? Gandhi refused. Gandhi was not ready to go for the bail. The judge released him without bail, so without security. So it's a kind of security. Okay, if I have to get the bail from the court, what should I do? I have to give certain amount as a security. So without giving security, without accepting security, Gandhi was ultimately, lastly, he was made free. When the court reconvened, means the court started again, began again. The judge said he would not deliver the judgment for several days. What did the judge say? So he told that he was not going to give the judgment for several days. And meanwhile, he allowed Gandhi to remain at liberty. So until the judgment comes, he asked Gandhi to be free, and he could remain free, and he was given liberty. And you see that Rajendra Prasad and Brij Kishore Babu, Maulana Maharul Haq, and several other prominent lawyers had arrived from Bihar. By this time, you see that many important personalities, prominent personalities, including Rajendra Prasad, they came to Champaran from Bihar. They conferred with Gandhi and they discussed with Gandhi. They had a discussion with Gandhi. What would they do if he was sentenced to prison? Gandhi asked them. So at last Gandhi asked a question. Suppose if I get a punishment, what will you do? What would they do? He asked them. Why the senior lawyer replied, they had come to advise and help him. If he went to jail, there would be nobody to advise and they would go home. Okay, what was the reply? So a senior advocate immediately replied that they had come there to give advice and help Gandhi. And if he was sentenced to jail, they would go back. They would go back to their home. What about the injustice to the sharecroppers? But Gandhi was not at all happy. And Gandhi wanted, justice to the sharecroppers, the poor peasants. So he asked, what about the sharecroppers? Okay, there is no problem with me. I am ready to go to jail. But what about these sharecroppers? Gandhi demanded. The lawyers withdrew to consult. And the lawyers all together, they left to consult, for the discussion. And Rajendra Prasad has recorded the upshot of their consultation. Upshot means conclusion or the result. And after some time, Rajendra Prasad came to Gandhi and he reported, so what was the result of their discussion? Okay, what was the conclusion? They thought amongst themselves that Gandhi was totally a stranger, and yet he was prepared to go to prison for the sake of the peasants. If they, on the other hand, being not only residents of the adjoining districts, but also those who claimed to have served these peasants should go home, it would be shameful desertion. Desertion means giving up the company. So Rajendra Prasad said, it is the opinion of all the advocates, all the people that, so you had come from another place just to save or for the sake of the poor peasants of the sharecroppers. But what about these people? What about us? We are here. We are very close by. Even then, we are going back to our homes, leaving you to the jail. So it is really a shameful leaving you, in the middle of the issue. They informed. He informed. And they did not want to leave Gandhi and go. And that was the conclusion they had reached at. And they considered it was a shameful thing, leaving or giving up the company in between. So they accordingly went back to Gandhi and told him they were ready to follow him into jail. So they told, if you are going to jail, we are also ready to, follow you to jail. And the battle of Champaran is won, he exclaimed. Then Gandhi said, in that case, the battle of Champaran is won. We are going to win this battle. Dear students, I hope all of you understood this part very well. So we will discuss the remaining part of the lesson in the next videos. So thank you for watching it. Please like and subscribe my channel. Thank you very much.